So we are here at episode 15. So last week we did our first Solve Tank. Hopefully everybody has watched that. But yes, we are on the 15th episode. So that would be about 30 weeks because we're doing this every other week. And as we didn't have any specific topic for this this recording or this meeting, because it's more of a meeting than a recording, even though we do record it, we're going to do the best of. So we have picked some of the best discussions or the most responded to threads on the BetterIT Slack channel, and I thought we would go through and discuss it. But while I bring up the slide, why don't we just have a quick round robin of who's here, the type of industry you're in, and the size of the business, just so we get an idea of the viewpoints of the people that are speaking. So I'll
also
start.
Whether or not you're G Suite or Office 365.
Oh yeah. So I'm Colin McCarthy, G Suite. Work for a large advertising agency. We have about 2,000 people spread around the world and are part of a much larger organization. So let's go in alphabetical order to confuse people. So I think the next one is Brian.
Alex?
Alex. Oh yeah, Alex in the corner. I confused myself.
We cannot hear you, Alex. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Submit a ticket.
Excuse me.
Yeah. All right, well, let's skip Alex. You see, I knew he was going to have audio problems. Let's go to Brian.
Brian Kim, G Suite. We are a Google partner based out of Toronto, Canada, and we are about 10 people in size.
Okay, who's next? Who can work out the alphabet?
One of the Calebs.
I think it's Caleb Coy.
Sure, I'll go. But you already introduced me. I'm Caleb Coy. Also G Suite, company of about 6,000-ish in the finance adjacent industry.
So it's my turn. Caleb Spring. I work for a law firm in upstate New York, which is really just Western New York. And our law firm only has 15 users. So.
Okay, Chris.
All right, yeah, I'm Chris Tucker. I work for a software SaaS company. I have about 175 users right now, and we are Office 365. So I'm almost the odd one out sometimes.
Our condolences go out to you.
All right, where next do we go in the alphabet?
Dominic?
Yeah, D.
Dominic.
Probably me. You can cut this or you can keep it in, whatever. I'm Dominic. I run 23 Consulting. We are G Suite partner reseller, and we support hundreds of users.
In many countries, right?
In many countries, in many European and maybe futurely other countries, somewhere closer to where this group is located, mainly.
All right, excellent. Who's next then?
Justine?
Yeah, probably me. Justine, we have 300-ish users. We're a technology, SaaS technology company, and G Suite, of course.
Are you guys still considered a startup?
I don't know. What does a startup mean to you, Rose?
Oh, that's a discussion.
That's a whole other solve. Just kidding.
All right, I think after J we have M's, don't we?
I'll go next. Mike Lynch. I work for a health tech company, and we're about 500 users, and we are G Suite as well.
I'll go as the other M, Mike Stone, and everything Justine said applies to me as well. G Suite.
Excellent. All right, so then we got RS, and then we'll do A to end.
Hi, I'm Rose Layton. I work for a conglomeration of nonprofits in the education and workforce development industry. We have upwards of 1,000 users across all of our organizations, and I support 600 of those. And we are a G Suite shop by and large. So,
Okay. So I'm Steve Larson, work for a Google Premier Partner in Chicago, Cloudbakers. We've got getting close to about 100 employees now, and some of our customers are here on the call, which is great. And then G Suite, obviously, environment. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay. And then Alex, if he's got his audio fixed.
Yeah.
Maybe. Just hold the mic to your mouth. It's just really quiet.
So that'd be better.
Little bit.
No. I'm Alex. I work for Ray here. No. Anything? All right. That's good.
I don't know. We'll make that up. Alex is from somewhere, does something, probably on G Suite. Needs to put another AAA battery in his Bluetooth headset, maybe.
Hey, Colin, are you open to cutting like 10 seconds from the recording?
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell everybody that Chris is joining my team.
What? Oh, wow.
I will no longer be Office 365 in a couple of weeks.
Hey,
Amazing.
Rescued him from Office 365.
Excellent.
That's so cool. Congrats.
Wow.
Thanks.
I'm not really sure if that should be public knowledge, but.
Now
Hey,
we
my
need
boss.
to get-
My boss
They'll
knows,
know.
so that's all that matters.
All right. Do we need to cut this?
You.
You said yes?
It'll be official on the 21st of September, so like.
We
So I
should
can leave
do this
this-
somewhere.
Like that's when he
Wonderful
starts in
moment.
my company.
Do I need to leave this in?
You can leave it in.
Okay.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I just wanted to tell everybody, and I forgot to tell everybody before you started
Excellent.
recording.
You've told the world. You've told anywhere between.
I told my mom. I told my mom about this, and she was like, "I'm gonna go look that up, and I'm gonna watch all the episodes." And I was like, "Okay, mom."
Excellent.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
The real question is, do you need to cut the discussion about whether you need to cut it?
No.
It's live.
Ooh.
It's live.
Do it alive.
That's a thinker. That is. That's a brain teaser. All right. Yes, that is very deep. All right. So let's get to our discussion. Let me share my screen if I can work out how to do this. How does this work? Let me see if this works instead. Yeah, there we go. Look. Does that work? Yes. Can you see the logo?
Yep.
All right. So here we have our first discussion point. So earlier on this week on the BetterIT Slack channel, we was asked the question, what is everybody using as an internal service desk? Because Jacob's current solution was not working. So who wants to start? Who's not using a service desk? Do we need to have a definition of a service desk? I don't think we do. If you do, you can go back to episode 9 where we did ITSM and we discussed the pros and cons of different systems. I'm assuming.
Do you have notes, or did you actually know which episode that was right off the top of your head?
I had no idea whatsoever. I just guessed.
Nice.
It's not episode 9, by the way.
No, it's not. It's one of the earlier ones. I can't remember. Well, we did discuss it. We did discuss all the pros and cons of
It was
different.
before you started giving them titles.
I think so. Yes, that's what makes it harder. No, episode 11, ITSM. One product or to do it all or multiple tools. So yes, obviously a service desk can be more than just a ticketing system. I like asset management in it. You know, something like Fresh Service, you can tie in Team Viewer, you can do asset management, discovery, you can do whole onboarding, offboarding workflows, you can do a whole service catalog. I like Fresh Service as a product. I know there's many others. I know a lot of people use Atlassian and Jira. So what are people's thoughts on service desks?
I feel like, am I the outlier here? Or Caleb, are you using Spoke still?
We're using Spoke.
Mike is using Spoke.
I'm using Spoke, yep.
Okay. So me and Mike are Spoke users, which is a different, I don't think it classifies as like a traditional service desk. It doesn't try to fill some
how
of
it
the
works?
gaps. Yeah, I can explain how it works. So it's like, it is built on machine learning. So basically, like you enter a question in natural language into Spoke, and it tries to respond with a knowledge base article if it has one that it thinks is relevant. And then if it doesn't, you have the option to put in a ticket, and that ticket is automatically routed to a team based on whatever is in the question. And then if you have this setting on, that ticket is automatically routed to a particular like agent based on whatever's in the question, based on like what it knows about the tickets that your agents answer. And then you basically, so you train it by telling it what the knowledge base articles you want it to automatically answer are, like you send those to appropriate tickets, and then it just learns over time from your ticket data. So it's not traditional. They have added a lot of more traditional features lately. So they have like integration center, where we can add like HRIS integrations and things like that. I don't know that they've added any asset managers. Do you know, Mike?
You can actually integrate with Umnitsa if you use that, but I've made a request for a few others.
Yeah, I mean, we have two. So, and most asset managers are actually integrated with service desks. So that's a wrinkle, I think. But yeah, and then they've added like request forms and like tasks. So you can assign like individual tasks to a ticket and assign each of those to different people. But yeah, so their goal is to be more than IT for sure, but it is an internal facing help desk system.
I think one of their most compelling arguments they made very early on was wanting to be more than just the IT service desk. They acknowledged and like really grasped the idea that other teams have people asking them questions that often have really great like self-help or repetitive answers, and so they were right out the gate understanding that, and that was always really cool.
I mean, I'll say out of the gate that if your whole company is not on Slack, it's probably not, it's not for you.
Yeah. Also, like if you're going to need an additional service desk if you support external users in any way. Like if you have a company that has a product, you're not supporting external users on Spoke. So it really is like an internal kind of knowledge base sort of system. I will say they have one of the deepest Slack integrations I have seen. So that's cool. That's what we use. Anyway, somebody asked me this morning what my experience was, and I was like, well, Spoke knows that I adore them.
Yeah, I think if you've got Slack, it's a great probably fit. But if you don't have it or you want a more of a traditional system, then something else is probably more traditional.
Or you're using Google Chat like we are.
So that conversation came up in another community this morning because people were asking for recommendations, and like something like Slack to ticketing, and of course people recommended Spoke, which is great if you need a service desk if you're kind of building from scratch, versus the other common suggestion being Help, which is more like integrating with your existing service desk. So it's it's interesting that this conversation kind of keeps coming back around. I
think people are always wondering, like.
Yeah.
Dominic uses Freshservice.
Yes, but we support a lot of our customers through Slack shared channels. So, but all assets, all digital assets, everything lives in Freshservice. So we love to work out of there, but our clients love to work out of Slack. So currently we're missing something in between. And My perfect vision for that would be, hey, I can work out of Slack or out of a service desk and add public comments on both sides and have them synced back to Freshservice. That would be my perfect vision. And well, we're not there yet. I've been trying Focal, which is also integrating into Slack as well, and it's FOQAL, like for 2 days now. So shutting them out. That's a different option as well.
Is anybody using Atlassian here and Jira as either an internal or an external ticketing? Caleb is.
I can make a comment about Jira.
We use Service Desk for our internal help desk, as well as a few other teams within the company. Although it's basically limited to only companies who support internal teams. Otherwise, it's Jira software.
Right.
I was trying to set up Jira recently with a product manager for a new kind of little startup I'm working on, and we just gave up after a couple hours. We're like, how can anyone use Jira? So we were not going to be using it for anything for for development purposes, for sprints, things like that, or even ticketing. And I've had
you guys use for instead of Jira for project management then?
We're looking at Zoho Projects.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't used it. She's used it. The project manager, she likes it, so we're going to use that. But we use at Cloudbakers, we use Zoho Desk. We have Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk. Given that we're mostly a sales-focused kind of company, having everything in one system like that is really useful for us. We moved away from another ticketing system. I think it was like Zendesk. I think we were using before that.
Yeah, we use Zendesk too. My one gripe about Zoho is I really wish they would update their logo. It just like if you're reading a book by its cover, which let's be honest, we all are.
A little too 90s for you?
It's a little too 90s for me.
So I think Zoho might have spent all of their branding and marketing budget last year or the year before, where for about 6 months the whole of Penn Station was completely covered and taken over by Zoho. It was like a homepage takeover, but with a train station. Every pillar, every display board, it was everywhere. It's interesting, and obviously it seems that the choice of ticketing system in use by the IT department has a lot to do with the nature of the organization. You know, if you're sales focused, then and you've got Zoho CRM, then taking a Zoho service desk product makes perfect sense. You keep everything in one go. If you start if your developers are using Jira, for product development, and then they have to provide support, then naturally they'll use Jira. Or if you started your organization on Slack, then something like Spoke or Tallow or any one of the other number of platforms would be suitable. It's interesting how many of them now are doing those AI bot features as well. There's an AI bot in Freshservice now, Freddy, the little dog, which you can rename.
I feel like there could be an entire episode of like in search of the perfect ecosystem.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, it would be about 8 hours long. And people might stop watching or listening after a while. All right. So, any final last thoughts of that, or should we go on to the next topic?
Use the one that fits your work. That's basically.
Try a lot of them. Don't just try one.
Yeah, and try multiple. Yeah, that's also good one.
For sure.
Yeah, and I guess don't be worried about changing and switching if it is the wrong platform. Being able to move from one platform to another.
I'm going to share. We have we just made this recently. It's like a scorecard for evaluating application services, things like that. I'll find the template here and share it with everyone. It's meant to be kind of a obviously points-based system where everyone goes in, rates the different categories, and then out of that you kind of come up with the best product based on empirical data essentially.
Steve, is that for just for IT service desk or
No,
for
this is for anything. This is so we were using it recently for a screencasting tool. So we had like 3 or 4 screencasting tools in there. A whole bunch of people went and used it for a bit. Each one rated it, and then we picked out the best one.
Is that the template you sent me when I was writing my blog post?
I think so. Yes, I think it probably was.
Yeah, we've used something similar when we've done ours.
Do you remember the name of it? Because I don't remember what it's called right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find it. Oh wait, here we go. I found the screen recording tool evaluation. I'll see if I can find. Oh yeah, here we go. Software evaluation template. I think I've got it. It's actually in the G Suite admin community docs.
Yeah. See, that's useful.
Yep.
Excellent. We need an easily searchable repository of all of this useful information.
Well, that's the point. So the G Suite admin community docs is actually in a single folder that you can add into your My Drive that then becomes searchable in Drive for you. So you just have to, well, I say that. You used to be able to add folders to your My Drive, but now with shortcuts, I don't know if it shows up in search results or not.
No, it goes to a shortcut instead.
Yeah. Okay. But are those objects searchable now? Because when it was shared with me.
Oh yeah, no, because it still lives in your shared with me. It just has a shortcut to your My Drive, so it's still searchable.
Okay, it is good. Okay, yeah.
When you click on the shortcut, it will take you to your shared with me, which is weird. I just did a demo for my team the other day.
Yeah, or you can start the folders too, I guess.
Well, and so this is because he has a public folder of documents and stuff. So.
Well, I just saw a chat from Justine. She's going to have to drop, which is a shame because we were going to try and get to her subject next, or a suggested topic from her, based on conversations that have happened in BetterIT, which is, oh my God, what is it with vendors? They just send you a calendar invitation out of the blue. So, family-friendly comments about vendors and cold calling. Obviously, my thoughts are cold calling is the worst thing in the world, but it can also be the best thing if you find the vendor that is absolutely amazing. And I've had 2 really, really good experiences with cold callers, and 2 of my best vendors came from a persistent cold call that I eventually said, okay then. So
a couple of those too.
So do we, sharing horror stories is terrible. We won't do that. I think people can go to the Slack channel or the archives and read what was said. But what are our general thoughts about that whole way of contacting us and winning us over as potential clients?
I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, there are definitely times when it works out, and sometimes I have clicked on those links and made those reservations. What I get really frustrated is when I go sit in that waiting room and actually the meeting never happens. You're like, oh, thanks.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, why would that happen?
It's like you sent me the link to set a time. I went there and you didn't show up, so we're done.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I just did one actually. I was right before this, I was in a call with somebody who had sent me an email and was like, "Hey, I just wanted to chat with you for 20 minutes and see what your thoughts are about this product." And I was like, and he had a Calendly link in his email. I will say, so the Calendly invitation that I got did not have a Zoom link in it. And at 10:02, I was like, hey.
Yes.
There's no Zoom link in this calendar invite. There's no video call link at all.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever been sent a random cold call calendar event. I've
never gotten a calendar event one. That one's wild.
Oh, that's
I
terrible.
definitely have.
If anybody wants to cold call Caleb, you can get him at caleb@koi.com.
We'll forward you all of ours too.
Yeah, I do ours.
I mean, if any of y'all just send me a random calendar event, I'll join it. Why not?
What are people's thoughts on tracking links in the URLs?
I block them.
I never click on them. I always I'm not going to click that link. I'll Google your company name.
The links don't even work for me. I've got Pi-hole, so it just blocks everything anyways. Even Google search results, the ads at the top, I can't click on, so I'm good.
You said that's called Pi-hole?
Pi-hole, yeah. So basically just a DNS.
I'll look that up later.
Yeah.
It's a Raspberry Pi proxy, isn't it?
We can run it. Mine runs on a GCP server that has firewalled port 53 to IPs that I just work from. So I don't have to worry about where I'm at. I'm on a laptop. Wherever I'm at, my DNS is always going to this GCP server.
Chrome extension.
Still having trouble hearing Alex, which is terrible. He's always got such good things to say.
Is your laptop mic broken, Alex?
Yeah, just unplug your headset.
Yeah.
Or chat. Use the chat.
Yeah. Other thoughts on vendors from anybody else? Ryan?
I was just going to say, like, you can have as good a Salesforce as you want, but I will always put a lot of stock in groups like this. And when people say, this is really working out well for me, and like 5 of the people chime in and be like, oh, I use it too. Like, that is totally going to send me at least to go check things out.
It's too bad Justine isn't here, because she literally had a question like that the other day, and I was like, did you look at this place? And she was like, I just wanted a community recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, this is the best kind of Salesforce you can have, is like word of mouth.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and I would say probably 70% of the people who contact me in a sales capacity have absolutely no idea what my organization does, have absolutely no idea what my technological priorities are. They didn't read my LinkedIn, apparently, because they would know that I don't use certain kinds of systems. And so they're proposing things that, like, I'm like, why are you asking me about this? No, like, I don't want anything like that.
If it's a personal, if I know that a human has written the email, then I'll often respond. But if it says, hello, Colin McCarthy, I see you are the VP of Global IT for X company. And like the X company is wrong because it was like an old company name that we used like 3 years ago. And it's like, well, whatever data you bought to populate your mail merge hasn't been updated.
I'll say they can take that too far. People have posted, pictures of them sitting in front of your LinkedIn or, screenshots of a tweet you made. It's just like that crosses a line that you gotta.
Yes, yeah. And
you should look into it, but not too much. Like.
Yeah, I don't like the URL where it says it's been sent via Salesforce or some other platform. Then you know it's completely automated, or you get them at strange times of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when you can tell that they're just blasting it out to anyone that works at X company, and they like no regard to who actually might be in a position to influence decision making. Don't send the help desk your sales messages.
And the easiest way to tell if it's a blast is if it has the unsubscribe link, because I think legally they need to include it. So
yeah, and the marketing stuff that they use to do that requires that they have them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do people unsubscribe, or do you just mark it as spam?
Either.
It depends on who I'm feeling that day.
That's the one where the spam filter actually helps me because I just ignore it. I don't even let it get to me. It's like.
Oh yeah, most of the really spammy ones just go right to spam, and I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Usually they just go to quarantine on our end. We just quarantine everything. I have 4 spam messages a year. And I get reclassified afterwards. That's basically what we do.
I had a vendor literally call me every single day at my previous job. I don't know how, but he did.
So for a salesperson watching this recording, what are the do's and don'ts of reaching out to folks like us?
I guess we should focus on the do's because we've had a lot of don'ts.
Yeah, I mean, first, most important one, get your target right.
Mm-hmm.
Go for the people in the organization that make the most sense for your product and the people at a level that are most likely to be affecting change. Don't blast the CMO when you're trying to sell your IT asset management product, things like that. But
well, and also we've seen the SaaS companies that will try to sell to receptionists and stuff. They're gonna use the product and they'll get excited, but oh my gosh, it's a whole thing. If IT has a strategy, we have a strategy, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't email sales at.
Yes.
That's the worst. That's like literally the worst. We have procurement at. Try at least that one. You at least reach the right people.
All right, let's move on to another topic. We've got, what, like 20 minutes left until the top of the hour. So can everybody see that again?
Yeah.
So we have old IT gear. So this is from somebody called Caleb. I don't know who that is.
Look at those old floppies. That's amazing.
Following on from a conversation, was talking about old tech in his office.
This was based on someone else's post that they had really old handheld. So I was like, well, I think I got you beat with hardware being old, but...
If you didn't tell me you worked at a law firm, I would have figured it out from this photo.
One day somebody's going to want that WordPerfect file off of that 5.25-inch disk, and then you.
I mean, that's version 1. That's the version number is 1.0, so it only got better, right?
Yeah. So what are our old tech stories? And I'll listen. I'm going to go and get something out of my archives to show you with talking about some old tech. But start with some old tech stories.
I was at a university for a hot minute, and we found an old PowerBook, and we brought it out to show our student workers. And the machine was literally older than they were, and they were blown away.
Caleb,
Your mic is like fuzzy and like.
Try plugging it in again.
Oh, unplug it again.
Off and turn it on again. Yeah.
How about now?
Better.
Better? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we found a PowerBook that was older than our student workers, and they just like it blew their minds. Like, this is what a computer used to look like.
So when I worked my very first help desk job, somebody brought in one time a black MacBook, black plastic MacBook. I had never seen one before, and I've never seen one since.
Oh my God! I didn't
Have
my
you
black MacBook.
Oh my God, you have one of those? That's the.
This is the old iBook.
computer.
Yeah.
This was iBook before Wi-Fi. Before Wi-Fi. And if I plug it in, it works.
That's amazing.
We had an employee
That one.
that just begging for a laptop, and we were like, "Here you go."
Oh, I went out.
Black MacBook. What?
I went out and got my compact 6400R rack server power supply. I couldn't bring the whole server into the room, but I figured I'd bring the power supply. And I've got like the disk array, the big, massive 8 gig hard drives. Yeah. So 9.1 gigs, right? That's what it was. Yeah, 9.1. I think
in the thread, I posted the oldest thing I own, which is I have the install discs for OS X Panther, and that's it.
I have an iPhone 5S. My oldest computer.
Dominic and I are at a loss here because we're the babies of the group.
I was really hoping I would have had my very first computer still laying around, but I had a Tandy 8086 was my first.
Nice.
There.
I don't really
with the extra 5.5-inch floppy.
Is that an iPod?
So I have an iPhone 4 that's like the oldest piece of tech that I have, but otherwise, like, everything else is gone.
This is the pre-iPhone iPod 30 gig. Man.
Oh. Which gen of iPod is that?
That's a 5.
I have a classic too, but it's a later gen than that, I can tell.
All right. Piece of Canadian history, BlackBerry Playbook.
Oh my God, BlackBerry Playbook. It's amazing. Cool. All right, here's a bit of show and tell. Will it actually work?
Oh, there you go.
Put it in front of your body.
Oh yeah. All right, there we go. Can you see that? This is Windows. Oh my God, what is it? I can't remember.
3.1.
Yeah, 3. Let me put my glasses on. I'm getting old. Yeah, 3.0.
That's amazing.
0.
And it's sealed as well. Completely sealed.
You did
Here's the thing. once you've installed the operating system, what do you want to do? You want to play Flight Simulator.
Oh my God.
And then you've got to be serious, haven't you, on a computer? So then you play, you fire up Word. Have I got see it up there? And then you need to send your Word file to somebody. So there's Microsoft Mail.
I'm going to reach out in about 25 years and see how much you've sold these on eBay for.
I was just going to say, Colin, are you preparing for time travel? Are you gathering up all your software so that you can be successful in 1994?
Yeah, well, also to be successful in 1994, I've got my my Scion Series 3 PDA. I love this thing. And if only I could. Pardon?
I said that one looks like a
older than
keyboard.
I am.
Yeah, Dominic's like, this is older than I am.
This shit is older than me.
I know. If only I could remember the password on the Word document on here, I'd be able to read a journal entry from 1992.
It's got to be crackable.
How much older than you and me, Dominic?
What kind of encryption could they possibly be using? I mean,
look at that old school foldable though. Like that's catching up to our modern tech's catching up to that now.
So yeah, I think we should do a whole show and tell on old tech. I love that stuff. All right, we got 15 minutes left. I think Steve's going to get some more stuff from his garage or his vault. Let's move on to the next question.
I think Caleb is collecting a box now.
I got one more thing really quick. So this is a MacBook Air, the very first one where you had to flip down to get to the USB ports. It was all flat back in the day. Now they have it on the side. You have to flip it down. So that's a little more modern for some of those that might.
But still a relic of.
It's still a relic because they don't do that anymore at Apple.
It's amazing because you're not on the frame for me right now, but I can hear the flipping and I can picture it perfectly.
My only question for you is, does that fit in a manila envelope? That's my only question.
It does.
Wow.
It did actually fit in the manila envelope.
All right, I'll do my best to edit all of that in so we can see it on the big screen. Probably maybe our last question for today. I think we might have one more. Does anyone have any suggestion for a great remote support utility? So obviously there is TeamViewer, there's LogMeIn, Pomgar, and there is screen sharing within Teams, Skype, or Google Meet. Thoughts on remote access software?
I'll always angrily remind everybody the day that Slack took away remote screen share capabilities, because that was just right there in front of you. It was perfect, and then they just ripped it right out.
Yeah, don't use TeamViewer. Don't use TeamViewer. Is my only advice.
No.
Why?
Why? I use TeamViewer.
It's
management from a IT management position, like updating custom packages, and it's not, you can't, I don't know of a way to centrally manage it, versioning
Yeah, we used to have to walk people
using a default.
It when they would call and need support. Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked fine once you were in it, but like getting to it was a little bit difficult.
I don't see it as an enterprise product for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, we use GoToAssist, which is actually a recent acquisition. We were limping by on like Zoom remote support controls for a very long time. And that just became, it just got too complex. And so we purchased a few licenses of GoToAssist for our help desk.
We've used that, but I also found that lacking on the administration side a lot of ways. I don't remember offhand because it's been a few years, but it's just not geared as much towards the administration. As
we only need like 6 people using it, so that's it.
Yeah, we were testing out ConnectWise when Zoom and Teams screen sharing weren't quite enough, especially with Windows and kind of needing to log in with an admin password that you can't do with a screen share.
Yes. Yeah. You don't get to see that pop up, do you? Because it's sort of above.
No, yeah, it hides all system windows.
Yeah, when you've got to do raise elevations.
When you're in a software install and nothing's happening, and you're like, is there a window up there by chance? Can you click next?
We use SolarWinds RMMs. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I was just saying Chrome Remote Desktop is decent, but go ahead.
Oh, we use SolarWinds RMM, remote management solution, and it's really well. Actually, those windows that pop up, you can see when you're remoting it. It does more. It does inventory management and stuff like that. Patch management is a part of it. It's definitely enterprise.
Yeah, SolarWinds actually acquired our asset manager. Right. So can vouch for at least the asset manager part.
Yeah.
I've poked at Chrome Remote Desktop before, and it seemed really cool, but that was years ago, and now the place where I am, we're not allowed to have remote support tools, just from a security standpoint. But it seemed like a good option, especially.
Oh, you have to turn off all the remote ports, don't you? Probably.
Probably. I don't have to. In that someone else.
I like that approach. Well, you gotta click yourself, learn how it works.
Yeah.
Your user.
Obviously,
some Screen Connect it hides the system dialog. Okay.
There's definitely something to be said for like the skill required to talk someone through doing it themselves remotely rather than taking over and physically doing it. Yeah. I think anyone who's ever worked at the
I think that's why we use Zoom for so long.
Very comfortable with that. Because
we would rather actually like walk people through it. Like that's a more important skill to us than like just saying like I just need to do this right now. That was a potential spam call.
That's a good philosophy, and that works great until you need to work on someone's computer who has no time for you to.
Yeah, and I would say like VIPs for sure. Like you never have that philosophy.
Right.
But like you know.
Yeah, having an option to do unintended. Access and support. So you could do stuff out of hours and you don't have to have the end user, especially if you're doing sort of remote setup or configuration for new machines or, but obviously could be some security implications for having those, pieces of software installed on your system. So, certainly do your research.
Yeah, so you have to keep it patched.
Yeah.
So to Alex's point, you would want centralized management because when you have those on your system, like they're not patched and there's an exploit, like.
Okay, Mike's got
Yeah, especially if it's TeamViewer or GoToAssist where they're highly targeted and have severe vulnerabilities. Most updates. So.
Yeah. I used to love ARD when I was first getting started. But definitely not a full-on management tool, but when it was all I had, it was awesome.
All right, should we go to the last question in the last sort of 5 minutes? So the last popular topic on BetterIT in the last couple of weeks, last week I think it was, what methods do you use to scale your IT team as the business grows? How do you justify the additional headcount? So obviously there is, some people go by a formula, X number of end users per support people. That can work in some environments, doesn't always work in others, depending on how they are. I'm sure, Walmart, for example, or Costco doesn't have, with 30,000 employees, doesn't have 3,000 IT support people, or maybe they do if you're going to, 1 to 100. I think 1 to 120 is sort of an average. I know there's been a number of surveys out and about, and I think even BetterCloud have done one where I've seen the range go from 1 IT person to 60 employees all the way up to sort of 250, depending on.
We have 2 to 1.
So, huh?
We have 2 to 1, 2 IT people, 1 end user.
That's a very white glove service. That is. So formula. Is there a magic formula? How do you guys tackle it if you were gonna expand your operation.
It's very fuzzy.
At some point, my boss read something somewhere that said that the ideal headcount is, or the ideal ratio is 75-1 support to a number of end users. But that only does our help desk team.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what you have to look at. You have to look and say, what are the roles and what are if for us, we work at a software SaaS company, so we have a lot more technical people than other places. So our ticket count is actually low, meaning that we don't need 1 per 75. Although it's, for us, it's more, we're distributed, so we need more time zone coverage more than user coverage.
Right. It's more complicated. If you're looking departmentally, you look at service desk and you see what do we need to cover? What happens if one of them calls out or if 2 of them call out? Like, do you have backup? Like, I feel like the ratio numbers are trying to simplify something that can be quite complex.
We
In
don't.
the early
you
days,
can rely on.
everybody is support anyway.
Yeah.
In the early days.
But realistically, if you're tracking time in any way, that's the easiest way to justify resources. Is we have this much work, we've worked this many hours, and we're losing ground.
Yeah, but then you have to be working overtime before you can hire anyone.
Not if you're non-exempt.
And you also have to make sure you're not creating single points of failure too. Is 1 to 75 or time zone based coverage or whatnot can still leave you with like one person who, if they have a day off, like you're out of luck.
Or if you're an extremely lean team and somebody decides to leave, and then there's a scramble to figure out, so how are we going to fill that void and how quickly can we do it?
Hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically speaking, correct.
And certainly that's more of a problem in North America, where people generally give 2 weeks notice. In Europe, it's the notice periods are either 1 month or even 3 months for some. So if somebody's handing their notice, it's like, I can find somebody. Yeah, it is always a struggle in North America getting that role filled, because in reality you're a month out for hiring anybody, because often most organizations you've got to get recruitment to open that role, you've got to have finance to approve it even though it's a backfill, and then you've got to do your whole marketing and your interviews, and they've got to give 2 weeks notice. So
Well, but on the bright side, I can hire somebody and have them start really quickly, even if they work at another place. Whereas in Europe, it sounds like I would be waiting at least a month after I gave somebody an offer.
Well, but I think that if somebody gave notice, you could then kick off that search at that point and be able to kind of almost either overlap or kick off right off the bat.
Unless you hire somebody who already has a job.
Well, but they would have given notice. Like both sides are going to give.
Like if you hire somebody who already has a job to fill a position with somebody that just gave notice, they have to give notice at their other company before they can come work for you.
But if they just gave notice, they're going to have a month or 3 months, and the person you hire, I see what you're saying. Yeah, there is still a gap. There is still a little bit of a gap. Correct. Yeah.
And
it's
here
the same cycle. It's just extended a little.
So we still don't have any IT support at Cloudbakers. We given that everything's like kind of cloud-based, Chromebooks mostly. We're 0 IT for 100 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's another consideration, is like what platforms you're using, what tools, and how much support do they actually need. If you have a fully SaaS-based and you're using Chromebooks sort of environment, versus if you're like super heavily Windows or Mac OS, have a lot of on-prem stuff, like things that need more hands-on support and less like with Chromebooks in particular, if the computer's broken, all right, swap it, get back to work.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that, but like you can make it that simple if you need to.
I remember
the more mature your organization is and your infrastructure is, the less other types of IT people you may need, right? So like if you're far along in the SaaSOps journey, it's all about maintenance. It's not about creating, because you're not adding new stuff as much as you are when you're making massive changes from on-prem to the cloud.
I do remember a couple of years ago, I was talking to a company and they were hiring their first IT person. And I was like, cool, how big are you? Oh, 150 employees. And it's like, you're hiring your first, like, and do you have plans for more than one? Oh, no, just one. We're very technical. And you're like, yeah, until an IT person comes in and then everything gets dumped on them.
Right.
They break everything.
Yeah. We have a customer like that, 120 people. They just hire their first IT role, and they're still training them to do more of the DevOps stuff than the SaaSOps stuff, or take on some DevOps stuff and not only SaaSOps stuff. And so technical people, technical customers are somewhat like that. So that's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, certainly is all reliant on the individual operation and industry for that company. Well, thank you very much for spending the last hour, 50 minutes discussing the recent topical posts on BetterIT. The next episode in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have another Solve Tank where as a panel, we will get a demo of a SaaS vendor and then do a review and give our opinion. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll press pause on the recording.
It's noon.
Yay.
Do you want to stop recording?